I mean, the country as a whole is a very young country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, they struck out independence not so long ago, but for a small country, it's 1.3 million people here, and it does feel like most of them are rally fans when you rock into town for the event. But such an innovative and technologically advanced Teemu, little bit of a moment, saved.
Just got spat out of that rut, and by doing so, ended up a little bit wide, then got spat out the other side. Gathered it up though, but that was a scare. And once again, I think that'll look a lot more dramatic from an outside camera than it would do on board. We saw that with Craig's incident yesterday evening when he hit the stone. Didn't look too bad until we looked to the outside. It was quite a big hit.
Yeah, it was quite a big hit, wasn't it? Okay. Little bit of a moment then for Sunanen.
Unruffled.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes you get to the stage end of the coast, but there we go.
Oh yeah, it was a big moment.
It was a big moment.
And he's had a bit of an impact to the right front as well.
He quickly saved that. It was a quick reaction. A 4:56.1 then was the time from Sunanen as we join Elvin Evans.
Just in of a narrow jump, 60 king. Latest 4 left sharp into latest 5 right long. Caution.
There's Teemu.
Sharp bail. Opens 5. 80. Right of a crest into 3 left long. Big cut of a crest. Left 50. Latest 5
Teemu, you
left.
seem to have a bit of a moment out there on the far right hand corner. What happened?
Yeah, the cars has jumped from the ruts to inside, but yeah, nothing serious happened really.
No, I mean, they kind of unfazed by that kind of moment, and it was a very quick save, but it's the ruts then. You know, so obviously in that sector that he was in, it's the ruts that have bounced him offline.
And now that particular rut will be damaged by the fact the car jumped out of it. So when Elvin's coming through here and leaning on that rut, and it's perhaps broken, he could also experience a similar sensation.
Left of a long crest.
Right over boarding left, H3.
Switching from one co-driver to another. It's Chris Patterson calling the notes now for Gus.
Field left. Right, height 5 left. 50, left over crest, height 5 minus 20, acute left. Close.
Yeah, Gus continuing to run out of position until the last stage of this loop, until the power stage where they all get ordered due to that slight issue that we had in service this morning for Gus.
Yeah, if you are just joining us and wondering why he's not first on the road today, he had an issue leaving Parc Ferme this morning. Basically started the car. Don't know whether it stalled or whether he turned it off again and then it would not restart. Anyway, he could not get it to restart. They had to change the spark plugs there and then at Parc Ferme and then get the car into service. He was late in, picked up a penalty for that, but crucially, you know, they got into service, they got back out on the roads today.
Elvin safely through that area where Teemu had his moment.
Opens long, just in of a crest. Into 3 right plus. Very long for entry of a Yuppie crest. 5 left sharp.
Teemu only hit a post, almost like a Marshall post. So not too much damage to the bodywork either on the right-hand side.
Opens long.
Elvin Evans then through, and I think, you know, second pass of these stages now, and in the build-up to what will be the final stage, the Wolf Power stage, and everyone going for those points. It'll be interesting to see who is out on the absolute ultimate pace here. They'll be making sure that they're saving tyres as much as possible. Tanak's still the fastest through, 4:46.7. Problem is with such a high-speed event as this, sometimes you see on a Sunday everyone really pulling back in order to save tyres for the final stage. And this is the final stage is a little bit different for us in that we do have. I'll talk about it in a minute. Let's hear from Elvin.
Is everything okay going through that stage, Elvin?
Yeah, everything fine. Just taking it easy and get it through now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for heroics in terms of time either for Elvin. He's got good gaps in time around him. You're on a softer gravel rally than, you know, places like Sardinia, Portugal. There's not a huge amount of wear on the tyres, there's not a huge amount of kilometres on the final day. You need to maintain a bit of pace going into the afternoon to get yourself ready for that power stage, even though it isn't the flat-out assault like we're seeing here. It's a slightly different characteristic to the rest of the stages, which is adding a bit of a different challenge for our drivers at the end of the event.
The last stage, the average speed is around, well, Oit's average speed was 64 kilometres an hour through the stage. The best timers would be a little bit more than that. But because it's such low speed, it's not actually using the aerodynamics as much as a high-speed section or a high-speed corner. So it actually relies more on the traction zone, on the traction of the tyres. Now, you're not getting as much wear from these stages, but the better the tyre, it might give you even more of an advantage than perhaps we would see on a more traditional fast stage, because it's mechanical grip at slow speed rather than aero grip. But ultimately, they're all having to do the same amount of kilometres. We do have that kind of frustrating rallycross track at the end of the next stage, which heats up the tyres quite a lot on the tarmac.
3.1 seconds then Greensmith down from Tanak's pace here. But no one is going to be giving it a big push at the moment unless you're in the WRC2 category and you are fighting for position on the podium, which is what Velassia and Formeau are doing right now. Marco Velassia is in 3rd position overall with Formeau in 4th.
Block 4 left minus, tightens right minus 3 plus.
Not a bad time from Gus.
3.7 seconds behind Oitanak then. Gus completes the switch to Sébastien Ogier. 4th position overall for Seb and Julien.
60 cm. Gauche 130 à fond mi-corde. 50 mètres droite 130 plus corde. 150 mètres.
Seb been quite vocal about the fact that, well, on many occasions over the last years, vocal about he doesn't particularly like the rutted sections. But this shouldn't be too bad for him, just a couple of corners here and there.
Gauche 140 à fond mi-corde et 80 mètres frein. Gauche 130 tourne-milon. Gauche 130 tourne-milon.
Gus, you're second fastest going through that second loop of the day. It's not bad. I mean, the times are good.
Yeah, no, it was better. I did some work on this stage from the morning because I wasn't quite happy, and yeah, I had a nice flow. I had to change a few settings through the stage, but once I did, yeah, it made the car a lot better. So yeah, good.
Good. Seems a happy man going into the final 2 stages now then at Rally Estonia.
Got all kinds of dials and switches on his steering wheel to change brake bias, to change engine settings, whether it be maps or differential settings. You can adjust how much power goes to each individual wheel, and so perhaps needed to play a little bit with that before he got the feeling, but ultimately should be happy with that pace. Just 3.7 back from Oit.
Yeah, sounded like it was. I mean, all focus now really is going to be on our Wolf Power stage, because that is where the importance will factor in for lots of drivers such as Sébastien Ogier, who should walk away with 4th position from this event, all being well, and is hoping to get some points on the power stage as well. 2.1 seconds behind Tanak here. First pass of the power stage was stage 21 overall. Our previous stage, it was Neuville who was fastest there. Ogier was just 1/10 of a second off Neuville's pace through it.
Droite 120 plus pas corde, plus pas corde. Pour gauche à fond, corde juste sur gauche mini ancienne.
Troy's looking really good over the ruts where his car's bouncing around a bit. It's really not fighting Sébastien too much. Just a couple of times where you really feel like the car sits in those ruts like almost like a rail track and gets sucked around the corner, but ultimately Seb very much on top of it, and 2.1 back from Oit.
So we've got 6 drivers then safely through the stage so far. Tanak still with the fastest time, which is a 4:46.7. we join now our podium sitters. Thierry Neuville and Martin Vidal are in third position. They begin the stage 20.6 seconds behind Craig Breen, their teammate at Hyundai.
Ciel à fond pour droitille, pour gauche idéaliste sur 70, gauche arme 110 au moins 50 ligne, pour attention, droite arme 50 moins tourne vite, ferme pilon pas corde, ferme pilon pas corde.
Terry is pushing here. Really, really wide, really lurid a couple of times there. Thought we were going off the road a second ago.
Second fastest going through that stage. Are you happy with your pace through there?
All okay. Thank you.
Not more than that to say, really. All okay. There's one focus for Seb now. It's to get through the rally, try and get some points on the power stage as we keep an eye on Neuville. I'm waiting for the split to go in for him against Tanak. Craig Breen's just got started on the stage. So we wait now for rally leaders Rovanperä and Haltonen to get underway.
Yeah, keen to hear what Thierry has to say about this stage, because it really felt like that small bit of onboard we were on with him. He was on it, pushing hard, tail wagging, a little bit wide in a couple of the corners. Everyone else looking very clean and careful and tidy, but time's not quite there this time. He matched Tanak last time through here.
Yeah, but who knows when they get to the... Well, yeah, the split was absolutely level, wasn't it? And then the finishing time was absolutely level as well this morning. And they did that across two stages. Our first two stages, joint times for Tanak and Neuville, joint fastest.
Sur 40, gauche 50 points de tir, gauche 50 points de tir, ouvre, tourne, ferme corde, en droite 143, ferme sur 20 points, pilon pas corde, ouvre jusque sommet à fond, pour cuvette gauche sur sommet.
See how the car's being bucked around by the ruts. That's not Thierry doing that, that's as the car sits in a rut and kind of corrects itself.
Yeah, we can see ruts throwing cars around on tougher rallies, but it is in certain sections. It is quite difficult here. And obviously Teemu Suunanen came a cropper with one of them earlier, but a good save from him, but a bit of a moment. Countdown then, and it is slower than Tanak. 0.2 of a second down this time. They were equal on the first run this morning. Not quite this afternoon, though. 4:46.9 for Neuville. You know, with that green helmet that Craig is wearing, it makes him look as if his eyes are really, really green. Pretty sure they're blue. Family Breen are watching. Mama Breen in particular has been watching every single stage. I know you can confirm his eyes are blue, can't you? What a rally they've had here so far. The countdown beginning to the end of the stages for them to claim a podium. We'll hear from Thierry in a moment.
Double tightens around the bail open. 80. Flat crest, 30 late, flat, through that slip, slowing, 60 clear.
You're still setting some fantastic stage times, only 0.2 seconds away from Tanak. What's your strategy going in to the final stage before the power stage now?
Yeah, I mean, we keep the rhythm, and obviously we had a good first run in the power stage, but yeah, we're going to see if we can grab lots of points. I think 5 points would be needed, but anyhow, we keep our rhythm and see how we end up.
Yeah, he does need as many points as possible, and we're all keen to see what happens towards the end of this rally in terms of position. For the drivers, obviously Thierry fighting for the Drivers' Championship here and keen to get as many points on the board as possible. Go on.
He's always talked about Sébastien Ogier trying to keep him behind and trying to keep Seb behind. The gap now between him and Craig is about the same as him and Sebastian, so I wonder whether the next stage he will start focusing his attention on trying to pass his teammate legitimately on pace, because it really is a great push, and his rhythm is high. And every single stage he's been taking bits and bits.
Yeah, little nibbles and chunks. 2.5 seconds at the split that we have. He's quicker than Craig. We switch to our rally leaders now then, who are on careful form, certainly throughout the day today. But even their careful form is way quicker than you or I would ever dare to dream to drive.
Yeah, it's not as lurid and spectacular as we saw from Calais on Friday afternoon, but he's throttled back. He said he's being careful, but ultimately the pace is still very much there, and it's just the characteristics of the car looks a little bit more settled.
And 2 right and currently 4 left plus to the finish post into 3 right minus to stop.
Okay, Craig Breen then completes the stage. He is behind Neuville through there. It means the gap between himself and Thierry is now 18 seconds with 2 stages remaining. It's another 17 kilometers left to go here. Let's listen into Joni Halttunen while we wait for Craig.
Korea 3 jarru kapea, nyt pidä 3, lopussa on eri Kirraa, jarru 2, kapea pitkä oikein plus, Kirraa. Aukee paali. 91 yli. Stop, otan helppo.
2.8 seconds behind Tanak. Where does your focus lie now, Craig?
On the top line of the last stage. Yeah, very important that we bring the car home now. Obviously, it's a good haul of manufacturers' points for the boys and girls, so yeah, let's try and do that.
Yeah, that will be the focus for them. As for all the drivers here, final stop control at the end of the Wolf Power stage.
It really has felt like an endurance event, this one. Sometimes you go on rallies that are really short, compact and sprint, but this has been fast, stage after stage, different conditions for the guys to deal with. It really feels like we're just coming to the end of a very long and endurance, arduous rally.
I think that's what I've enjoyed about it. It has been kind of different stages. You're not getting a lot of the same flat-out press. You're getting a mixture of more technical stages thrown in there as well. But it has been relentless in terms of the stages being churned out. Loops of 4 stages repeated. It was a long day for the drivers yesterday.
With small liaisons, without the opportunity to really take some time to relax between the stages. The liaisons are short in terms of time and in terms of kilometres. And as Jules was talking about yesterday, it just means it's relentless. Sometimes, you know, in Portugal, you have a long liaison and you can cover that quite quickly sometimes, and therefore you have a chance to sit and relax a little bit. But I don't feel like these guys have had any time to do that.
But sometimes they prefer that, you know, the momentum, it keeps you going. Okay, when there's an issue and it is maybe a tough liaison section, that's difficult then. But the momentum of going stage after stage after stage means you're keeping into your rhythm. Whereas when you've got the long gaps between everything, it can drag out a day. I prefer it just like this.
Ribapera then 2.6 off Oit Tanak, and just 0.2 of a second faster than Craig Breen in that one, but doing enough. Let's switch our attention to WRC2. Andreas Mikkelsen, you would say, is in a comfortable position at the head of the field, such as the issues also with Oit Tanak. But, sorry, Oit Tanak, Mads Osberg, but we don't really know just how much, what the issue is with Mads in terms of lost performance, because on the last stage, even though he had brake issues, he was still just as fast as this guy. And there was nobody behind challenging too much. He jumped on board on a long, flat-out straight.
Just going through that stage there, Calais. Just tell us what the conditions were like out there.
Yeah, it was quite rutted, but Not completely bad. It was quite okay condition for sure. If you take carefully on the ruts, it's quite tricky, but it's okay.
He's seeming pretty cool and calm, isn't he, at the moment? 2 more stages to go then for Kalle Rovanperä. Now, it's been fascinating in WRC2 today, hasn't it? You know, with Andreas with that time gap now, 17.2 seconds over Osberg, who has those brake issues. Okay, maybe that battle is over. We don't know yet, but the Balassia Formo battle behind is very, very tasty.
Swaps positions in the midpoint of our loop this morning. Formo getting ahead and then Balassia getting him back again.
Yeah, there's only 1.9 seconds between them now in Balassia's favour, so we'll be watching that closely here.
And the reason for that was because Balassia had a small spin.
He had an off on the opening test this morning. He said he went off the road first thing this morning. He was 9 seconds behind the pace of everyone else, which we thought was a little bit confusing, but we had information that he'd gone off on the second stage, where he was only 1 second off the pace, but it was the first one this morning. Now, for Andreas Mikkelsen then, he has completed this test, and it's a time of 5 minutes, 1.7 seconds as we switch to Osberg. I believe Haley is now heading on her way to her next stage.
So Mads reporting brake issues.
Yep.
At the end of this straight is one of the places where you really need the brakes.
Look at the time.
Just a little bit deep in there. The brakes sounded like they were working, but they did sound like they were kind of locking a bit. Sounded like he was kind of gliding into that corner.
He's a good bit quicker than Mikkelsen on the split, though. 3.2 seconds up. But this stage this morning was where he was absolutely flat out. Took a good chunk out of Andreas. He's trying desperately to do the same again.
He is, isn't he? He is really trying. Mads never does it, I suppose.
No, he never ever gives up, regardless of how many issues he's had. And okay, there's been a list as long as your arm this weekend. He just keeps plugging away.
Same place as Suninen. You heard Mads groan out as he thought he'd lost it, but he kept it together. Again, just got one of the wheels on the wrong side of the rut. Try and say that quickly.
No. I struggled with the phrase on Friday, which I'm never ever going to repeat. Ever. It's banned. Let's have a look at the countdown then. This is obviously to Tanak, because it's our fastest time overall. Mikkelsen was a 5:01.7. He is quicker. It's a 4:58.9 for Osberg. The difference between them, 14.4 seconds. That is pressure now behind Mikkelsen. As we mentioned before, that's a spin. You know, that's a spin. That time is gone. Mikkelsen's got to keep it clean on the next 2 stages. Let's take a look at Balassia then, in 3rd position overall. He's had a really strong event here in Estonia. He should be happy with his performance. So it was on this stage earlier on where he did make a mistake. He's only a 10th of a second behind Osberg's pace here, though.
But that spin did take him out of touch with Osberg in the overall, because they came into the day really close, didn't they? And it was a battle on between the 3 of them. But Osberg, despite the brake issues, seems to be disappearing off into the distance once more. Yeah, you can see the line there from Mads' car, just off into the bushes on the left-hand side, and then recovering. Feels as though the cars are bottoming out on some very deep gravel in the bottom of that little little hill there. And that's what's causing them just a lack of control, just for a couple of seconds, enough to drag them offline. But so far, both Teemu and Mads having issues and keeping the car facing the right direction.
suave, derecha a fondo, final, y sigue izquierda 8 menos no. Izquierda 8 menos no. ¿Cuánto? 58, 4.
Balasia faster than Osberg.
Brilliant time on the board then for Marco. But let's see what Fourmeau can do. Remember the difference between Fourmeau and Balasia. Balasia is in third position, Fourmeau in fourth, 1.9 seconds. That's why Balasia's given it a huge push in here. He wants to stay ahead of Fourmeau.
The onboard's picking up some kind of vibration, the sound. That's not how the Fiesta sounds. It sounds a bit kind of old school with the raspiness of it. It's not exactly how it sounds, but sounds cool.
So that's split in then, and he is 3.8 seconds slower than Balasia. So Balasia should extend his advantage over Fourmeau here. Yeah, as the passing cars go, you see in there just certain sections where those ruts have become a little bit deeper. Renaud Jamoul is who you hear alongside Adrien. And there are the red boards for him. We'll breathe out there. It is a 5:02.6. He's behind now Balasia by 6.1 seconds in the overall championship category in WRC2. Let's take a look then at the stage classification for stage 22 overall. Tanak with the fastest time. Neuville, his teammate, just behind 2/10 of the pace. Then it's Ogier, Rovanpera, Breen, Greensmith, Evans and Suninen, with Lube and Balasia rounding out the top 10. Overall,